Before I introduce the keynote speaker, we do have a video, the Protect This House video. I want to show you guys that and just, take a look at the guy with the white hat on. He's a real superstar. He looks good. But before I introduce him, check out this video.
Yo, let's go. We started this thing, and now that we're on top, everybody's trying to knock us off. It's us versus them. We must protect this house. Will you protect this house? I will. We must protect this house.
But without further ado, Mr. Eric Ogbogu.
In society, we are faced with a lot of challenges, socially, economically, financially, with our government leaders, in our communities, and in our personal day-to-days. It's a testament to all the finalists that have accomplished so much to get here, understanding to never settle, and that we all should demand more. Not only from our government, but from our leaders, our communities, our people, and our youth. Tomorrow is a hard day for us all, but it's encouraging to see that the Alliance recognizes the challenges in life and that these young disciples are willing to make a difference in their communities, academically, athletically, and socially. I know that it's hard to hear, but I'm counting on all of you finalists. And frankly, so is everybody in this room and in your communities. Because we're expecting you guys all to achieve greatness in the classroom, in sports, in your community, and in life. I need my 3 kids to aspire to want to achieve as you young black leaders in the room tonight. I know that it's a lot on your shoulders, but I want you to understand this. God gives us the strength to handle all things that he puts in front of us. May God bless you all on your journeys to greatness. Now that was the written part. So Everett asked me to be here today. He wanted me to talk to you guys a little bit about my journey from college to the NFL. You guys will, again, meet a lot of guys who end up making it to the NFL as well. Kendall may not talk about it, but he made it to the NFL as well. But my journey didn't start just in college. I grew up in New York, one of 8 kids. I had 5 brothers and 3 sisters. When I was young, I suffered from Blount's disease. Now, I didn't even know what it was called until I got to the NFL Combine. And the doctors were looking at me and said, you had Blount's disease. I had no idea what it was. I had a disease that was, when I was a kid, severely bow-legged, so I couldn't walk. I had surgery when I was 1 year old. They pulled me around in a wagon. I didn't walk till I was almost 4. The doctors said back then that my development would be off. They didn't know what I was going to be able to do. But my mother would always tell me that one day that she knew, when she saw me walk, she knew it was going to be different. Because no one helped me, no one pushed me. They said I crawled around forever, and then one day on the side of the table, I just pulled myself up, and I did it. I started walking from that point on. But I couldn't play contact sports, full contact sports. So for me, if you guys go through and you read some of the bio, when I went to high school, I ran cross country. Started out on a cross country team, running miles. It was boring. But I remember a friend of mine back then, Jay Augustino, was like, you know what? I have no idea why you're running cross country. You should be playing football. And from that day on, I decided I'm not running cross country anymore. I quit the team. I walked over to the football team and I said, Coach, I want to try out. Coach said, what position do you play? I had no idea what to tell him. But I knew I had watched football growing up and I loved the game. My brothers all played football when they were little. I was the only one, like I said, could not play full contact sports that got a chance to play football. So I watched through TV. I learned. I said, I want to play running back. He said, you know what, son, it's too late for you to play running back, so he put me on defense. And that year on defense, playing nose guard, didn't really know what I was doing, just happy to play the game. I had about 15 sacks. I loved it. And I remember the first time I got hit, I realized that, like, you know what? This is for me. It was all the things I had been through growing up that had prepared me to want to play. My love and dedication for the game, I just knew it just was meant to be. Now, my mother did not know that I was playing football. Now, some of you laughing because you know what happens. She did not know that I was playing football, so I essentially lied. I lied for 2 years. Only person that knew was my brother, my sister who had the car that helped me get to practice and picked up from games. No one even asked me a simple question of, son, do you have permission? Can I see your permission slip? They just knew he was good. So when I got caught and the truth finally came out, I remember saying to myself, man, I am in trouble. But I knew one thing growing up, that my mother was about education. She was about hard work. She was about discipline. So for me, I knew I was going to get disciplined. But I knew that through my high school career, that early on, I had to focus on my books, and I did. Through that time that I was playing and she didn't know, I made sure that my grades were spot on, because that I knew was going to be the only thing I had that was going to protect my butt. And it did. She didn't want me to play because, again, like I said, I had Blount's disease. She didn't want me in any full contact sports. The coach talked to my older brother, Fran, at the time and told him, you know what? Your brother is exceptional. He doesn't know the game as well because he hasn't played it, but he is exceptional. He's got an opportunity to get a full scholarship to college. Being one of 8, there's a lot of bills to be paid. So an opportunity to get a full scholarship to college was enough for my mother to say, look, I will let you play. And I was so happy that she did, and I thought she forgave me, but I'll tell you right now, it felt like my mother didn't talk to me for at least 6 months. But as I went, after that point, she came to every single game. When I got my scholarship to Maryland, I was happy. Happy that I knew that her dream had finally come true, that her baby was going to school. Full scholarship to the University of Maryland. Loved it. Was excited to be there. It's where I met Mr. Ogbogu. Teammates. But I had a different mentality. I always felt a little different than everybody else. I knew that my road here wasn't like everybody's. Like, I had to work. For everything I had to work. I knew what working was about. I knew what sacrifice was. I knew what struggle was. I used to work out by myself. Lift weights, run, didn't matter. Playbook, coach gave me the key, watching film by myself. I knew what it took. So in college, I said to myself, you know what? I just got to make it. Not thinking about getting to the NFL first. I just wanted to be the best I could be. I knew how hard I worked in high school, and I knew how hard I was going to work in college. Not only just in football, but in my academics. I wanted to be an engineer, but settled on business. Because I felt like, you know what, this will give me the best opportunity to do both. And I did. I made sure I worked. I made sure I went to class. Because that's the big thing, because sometimes when you're in college, you don't really need to go to class. But in college, when we got there, we had something called academic support. Academic support was for all freshmen and all students, most of all students that kind of needed a little help. Now, as freshmen, they'd make us go, but I always felt like I didn't need to be there. I never went to academic support after my first year that I was mandated to be in school because I knew I had the drive to work. I knew what it took. I didn't need anybody else to take me to class or make sure I was doing my books because I knew if my mother found out I wasn't, she was going to whoop my butt all the way from New York. It didn't matter. I knew how to work in school, bust my butt every day. There was no spring breaks when all the other guys would go away. Summertime, I would stay through the second session. Wintertime, I'm not leaving till my sister's ready to go to New York. My life was Maryland. On campus, in the weight room, studying, getting ready to play football. I got drafted by the Jets in 1998. One of the happiest moments in my life. 6th round pick. Thought I was going to go a little higher, but I didn't. Getting drafted in the 6th round, I think, was probably one of the better things for me because it just kind of humbled me a little bit. Doc talked about it before. They used to call me the werewolf. Yep, and I believed it too. Because I would go out there and I was relentless when I played. But it humbled me a little bit because I knew I've got to go and I got to make this team. And I took on the challenge. And I said, no matter what, I'm going to do this. Went to New York, made the team, and I'm playing 4 years in New York. I loved my life in the NFL. It was great. Fellas, when you get an opportunity, Jelani will tell you, Kenny will tell you, it's great. A lot of things are afforded you by playing in the NFL. And I lived it all. One of the best lessons, and I want you to listen to this one. One of the best lessons I learned was in my first year in the NFL. I went broke. I got to June of that year, after my first year, and I didn't have $1 in my pocket. I'm going to say this again. I got to June after my first year, and I did not have $1 in my pocket. Through all that enjoying, and I finally made it, I realized, man, that I took my eye off the prize just a little bit. And I had to get back to what I knew. Focus, hard work, sacrifice. It was one of the hardest lessons I ever learned. But from that point on, I knew it'll never happen to me again. And it never did. From that point on, I straightened up. I saved almost every dollar I made. I made all of the right decisions. Because you know what? It wasn't about me. It was about all the people who took the time and the effort along the way to push me to be great, to ruin it because you know what? I was just happy to be there. And I learned, and it was worth it. And it's crazy when I tell people like, that's the lesson you learned, because it taught me a lot about myself and about the things that, again, you should never forget how you got there. Through that time when I was at the Jets, a friend of mine from college called me up. Hey, man, I need you to do me a favor. What do you need? I need you to take a few photos for me. Not a problem. Then he was Kevin Plank, just starting Under Armour. We had Under Armour in college. Couldn't wear it because we were Nike. But we were the first guys to get to wear it when we were at campus. We loved it. It was different. It was great. But we couldn't wear it because Nike would pull our money. But when I was done playing, he asked me to help him and take a few photos And I was honored. I'm like, hey, man, whatever you need, I got it. A few photos turned into print ads. Print ads turned into what you guys saw earlier, the commercial. I was living two lives at that time. In the NFL, playing football, New York Jets, in the face of Under Armour, a brand that nobody knew at the time, so it didn't even really matter. But I felt like we were achieving something great, because I knew as an athlete, it's always about getting better. In school, in life, in work, it's always about getting better. And I knew this product would do that. It was great to be a part of it. Kendall Ogle as well. It was about athletes. Athletes doing things for athletes, creating product for athletes. How do I help you get better? The cool part about the commercial and what made us so successful and people identified was, you know what? It was authentic. There was no actors, all athletes. We wanted to be perfect. We wanted to depict what life was really like to play the sport of football, to train for the sport of football. And it resonated with everybody. Kendall said it before, look at the guy in the white hat. The guy in the white hat almost didn't make it in that commercial because I asked him to get kicked out. Because for me, it was so important on being perfect and making sure that every athlete that saw it knew that this is the way it had to be done. We didn't wear hats in the weight room when we worked out. But we allowed Kendall to wear it, and that's why he got his shine. So for me, I'm excited to be where I am today and honored to be at Under Armour, the Senior Director of Football and Sports Marketing. Kendall and I have a very unique opportunity as we are part of the brand and helping the brand grow early on with spreading the message of athletes and what it takes to win and the drive, the hard work, the dedication, all those things. We were a part of that. Now at Under Armour, we have the very unique opportunity to continue to mold and shape what we are doing in the NFL. With the athletes, with the product, with our business. It is truly an honor to be here amongst you all. I think for me, when I got the opportunity to speak, I didn't know what I was going to say. But listening to everybody, listening to all you guys talk, this is truly a great honor for you all. I'm excited to be here from the standpoint that one day, as you guys become great, as you continue to strive for greatness, that I can say to my friends, I had the opportunity to talk to him before he became the #1 pick in the NFL draft, the next great surgeon, doctor, lawyer, executive, CEO, or even president of the United States. You guys are here for a reason. This entire place brought you here for a reason. There is a lot of things on your shoulder, but you guys are big enough to handle them all. Understand who you are, just like Kendall said, and never forget it, because it is the one thing that will continue to drive you forward. I want you guys to remember that for the rest of your lives, because you will. I guarantee you, each and every one of you, you will achieve greatness. I want to thank you. I want to thank everybody for my time, and I do appreciate it. God bless you all. Thank you.
That was a great speech. I do have an idea for you. Older Armour, and I'll be your model. So it doesn't have to be Under Armour, Older Armour for people over 50, right? I can still do a push-up, and I don't bend as much, but, you know, I'm your model. There you go, Older Armour. Thank you. It was a great speech. Sorry, a little joke there, but but if they do come out with Older Armour, I'm suing. Y'all heard it first.